Good afternoon, everybody, to this special session on how to be smart with your money for younger people. At Moneylife, we believe that finance need not be necessarily difficult or confusing. And so, we suggest you follow just these 5 steps to be smart with your money, which is save as much as you can and invest that amount every month. As for borrowings, stay away from everything other than home loans, and take care of your insurance through term plans and health insurance. But nothing can be achieved unless you take the very first step, which is save a lot of money. Today, people are not able to save a lot of money either because they spend it away or they have to shell out a substantial part of their monthly income in what is called EMI. We have done a very simple analysis that a large number of people in the urban areas almost are paying so much of their salary as EMI that by the time they are 35, 40, they have practically no savings. When I mean by no savings, no financial savings. Of course, you have a property, but you're living there. That's not a saving. There's no way you can liquidate it. You can call a broker and ask, what is the market value of this property? He'll tell you, so it's gone up a lot over the last 10 years. It's a paper value. What are you going to do with that money on paper? What you really need is money now, or 5 years later, or for your children, or for your retirement, or for whatever, for vacation, doesn't matter what purpose. For that you need cash. Or you need financial savings which you can liquidate and convert it into cash. If you're not going to have that, you're going to be in a serious difficulty. Why I'm saying serious difficulty? Because it's really far out. For young people to think beyond 24 months is really tough. And here somebody is talking about retirement and post-retirement is just unimaginable. But I'll just leave you with one thought. If you retire at 60, most likely you're going to live for another 20-25 years. And your money, at the time that you have at 60, and assuming you're not a doctor or a lawyer who can keep earning till you're 80, your money that you saved and created until 60 has to last for another 20-25 years. That's a very long time, and that's the time that you need money for healthcare and other reasons. So saving and investing at least 25% of your income at any time is highly desirable. If you do that, then a lot of things are just going to fall in their place and you don't need to worry about anything further unless there is a crisis. Now, saving is a mindset. A lot of people say that, oh, I definitely can save more if only my boss gives me a little more money. Okay? So I figure an increment, of course I'll save all of that money. Saving is, in our minds, linked to if I have more money, of course I'll save. Whereas we have situations like these, which I gave an example of people with a lot of money they need more. Which means it's the spending that matters. It's not the income that matters. There are people who are able to save no matter what their income is. And there are people who are not able to save even with higher salaries. Okay? It's the mindset. So never get into the trap of thinking that I don't have enough money to save. Now, this is today. There are 20,000 different attractions for you to spend that money that you have in your hand. But when you look back a little later, I wish I hadn't spent that money earlier. It's hard, it's difficult, but please try and put yourself in a position of what it is going to happen to your money in future. There are a lot of tools available for you to sort of try and project into the future. There are free tools available in the net. We are also creating a whole lot of free tools as we go along. But there are already tools where you can just put in some data of your choice. So much is my income, so much is my spending. If I earn 8% on this, show me how much will my money grow to. And you can compare that with the expenses in future and see what your situation is going to be 25, 30 years or 5 years or 7 years from now. Okay. So this is the reason that you're going to save. You might feel that, oh, it's a small amount. It's another phone or another pair of shoes or another pair of jeans. But as my subsequent slides will show you quite dramatically, that small amounts of money grow into huge amounts over a period of time. To summarize, everybody can make sound financial decisions. Everybody can do it. You don't need to know finance to make financial decisions soundly. You have to just be commonsensical about it. You have to understand the principles of compounding and just choose a few products that deliver what you want them to deliver, and tune out everything else. Everything else is noise. Albert Einstein is supposed to have said compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. I'm not sure whether he said that, but internet is full of quotes that he has said that, so I thought I'll use it. The secret of getting rich slowly but surely is compound interest. It involves, as everybody knows, earning a return not only on the investment that you make, but on the compounded figure that it grows to. So you make money not only on the initial investment, but on the money that the interest has earned and added up to. Here is an example of compounding. Suppose somebody called Rekha starts investing with just 1,000 rupees per month. Okay? And that comes to 12,000 per annum. Also assume that she earns an average of 10% on this investment every year. So every year she has to invest, every year she has a return on it. So in the first year, she has put 12,000, earned an income of 1,200, that is 10%, and the money has grown to 13,200. What happens in year 2? She starts with 13,200, adds another 12,000, earns income on that, which is 2,520, and again that has got added to 27,720. This is the second year. And she does this year after year without feeling bored, without cutting down on it, for 30 years. Very long time. We can't even think of 3 months ahead. If you're able to do this for 30 years, it's going to be quite a dramatic impact on your wealth that you create for yourself. You would have effectively put only 3,60,000 because it's 12,000 a year. 30 years is only 3,60,000, on which this paltry 10% part, the 10% part on the 3,60,000, by the way, is 18 lakhs. And your total wealth, by the way, is 21,71,000. This is a number anybody can do in their calculator or in their Excel sheet and check it out. You can put your figures, you can put, once you get attracted to this, you may wonder, why 1,000? Let me put 5,000. Yeah, you're going to have 1 crore of rupees. Now, this is the pictorial description of this, which is compounded. 12,000 and comes to 3,60,000. And this is how your wealth would grow. And look at the trajectory of the growth. This is a straight line. In an angle, it's going up. But that's not how wealth grows, especially in the later years. This is how it grows. It's very difficult for human mind to comprehend what is the impact of money on money is. Because apparently we are putting only 12,000 a year. But 12,000 gets added to the previous created wealth, and the 10% comes on top of that. And as you notice, it's going to be very, very boring, excruciating, frustrating in the initial years. Hardly anything is moving. I'm putting 12,000, so what? I've got 25. 2 years I put 24,000, right? And it's only 27,000, as I said. 3,000 more only. So the first few years you don't see it grow. But once the money grows to a certain size, the increase is quite dramatic. Now you can manipulate this figure in different ways and check it out. For instance, as I mentioned, you can put get very enthused with this and say, hey, I don't want to put only 1,000, let me put 5,000. It's going to be very good. Somebody might also say, hey, that's great. Yeah, money happens only towards the end, right? So the lesson somebody takes from this is not that you have to consistently invest for 30 years. The lesson somebody takes from this is the first 5 years is hardly any change. So I'll start after 5 years. Could well be, right? So what happens in that case? Hang on. You start 5 years later. You lose 9 lakhs out of 21 lakhs out of that. Now, you put same thing, 15, 12,000, 25 years, or 3 lakhs, which is only 60,000 rupees less for 25 years. The first person, Rekha, has put 12,000 into 30 years, 3 lakh 60. Second person has put 12,000 into 25 years, 3 lakhs, only 60,000 less. But his wealth is 41% less. So almost half of the money he doesn't make, he starts 5 years later. So you get a job at 22, start at 22. Don't start at 27. Okay. You start 10 years later. I quite sympathize with a lot of people who have commitments, who have EMIs and stuff like that, so they have hardly any money to save, but this is worth pondering. If you start 10 years later, you lose 14 lakhs out of 22 lakhs. You've invested for 20 years, okay? And you make only 7 lakhs compared to the first guy who's invested only 10 years more than you.
60% less.
Sorry? Yeah.
60% less.
Yes. 60% less. 65% actually.
Approximately.
Yeah, approximately. So 1,20,000 less, 14 lakhs less. These are all actual numbers. This is the first person, second person, and third person. Now, the most interesting of all. Let's reverse this. Somebody does a counterintuitive thinking. Okay, instead of the first person who said, let's not invest for the first 5 years, somebody is inspired by this and says, let me invest more in the beginning and see what happens, and invest less later. So I chose deliberately an example which gives me a little more edge compared to the first person, and see what is the number of years this is. So somebody called Lorraine invests 2,000 per month. Not 1,000 but 2,000 per month. Earns again 10% on it. Same assumptions. Invests just for 7 years and stops investing. So it's just the reverse of the conventional thinking of I'll invest later, when I can, when I want to, when I have the money, when I have increments. All of that is inverted to doesn't matter all of that. I have this money now. Let me spend as least as possible. I'm only 22. I'll start spending at 29. I'll still have years and years and years of my life to spend money. Okay? So in the first 7 years, let me try and control my spending. And doesn't invest for the next 7 years. This person earns the most. This person earns even more than the first Rekha, who has been investing for 30 years at 1,000 rupees per month. This woman has stopped investing. Now how will it look? She has saved the least, by the way, which is 1,68,000 only. 2,000 into 7 years. That is 24,000 into 7 years. So by the time she is 30s, she can spend more what she wants to. So just postpone. Our saving is nothing other than postponing our desires a little bit.
How much is it per liter? Sorry, 1,000.
22. That's more than the first person, which is 21 point something. I deliberately made it 22 and worked back and checked how many years one needs to invest at 2,000 to beat the first person. So if you make it 3,000, it will be even much more. So this is the situation. So invested first 7 years and then stopped. Nothing more. And this is how the money would grow. It's quite remarkable. So, can anybody tell me what you are going to do in your real lives after listening to a presentation like this? You.
You need a good capital to invest in the form.
You need capital to invest. You have a salary, you save from the salary and invest. It's only 1,000 a month. What capital?
That is a saving which is in the bank.
Okay.
Investments.
But it's only 10%. Banks pay 8.5, 8.75.
Or I could
Anyway.
put it on flexi banking and then it could just keep on renewing the FD.
But how much will you save? That is the issue.
Depends on the amount I put on the board.
Depends on how much you can cut down your spending. That's the money you will save. It's not how much you earn. That's the key part of this, that you have to find the money to save. And that's in your hands. Okay? I'll just share this very interesting thing, another rule of thumb, which is called the rule of 72. And it's very useful to deal with a situation where somebody says money will double. Double is something that human mind loves to hear. Money will double, either in stocks or in Ponzi scheme or whatever. Now, the rule is as follows. X into Y is 72, in which X is the number of years it takes to double your money and Y is the percentage of return that is needed. To give you an example, to double your money in 10 years, what should be the rate of interest that you need? That's 7.2%. That 7.2 into 10 is 72. Okay. Another example, how long does it take to double your money at 8% interest? That's 9 years. Okay. At 3%, if somebody pays you 3% interest, how long would it take to double your money? That's 24 years. Now, if somebody tells you a particular investment should double, I'm sorry, the number of years is less, missing there. In 4 years, he's promising a rate of 18%. A lot of times, insurance agents come to you and say, this will double your money in 5 years, or 4 years, or 6 years. You can do a quick calculation and say, if you are promising double in 6 years, 12, 6 or 72, that means that product has to give you 12% income. That's extraordinary. A bank doesn't give more than 8.5. An insurance company is going to give 12%. You have to ask, where are you going to invest my money that you're going to earn that kind of money and give it to me? Very, very tough. Which is why any high return product is never guaranteed. You would ask around anybody, any investment product which supposedly gives high return can never be guaranteed. Nobody can guarantee a 12% return or a 14% return or a 16% return. What I mean by high return, substantially higher than what a bank interest is providing. So the bank is giving 8%, 11%, 12% is high return. If you get somebody who can guarantee you 10, 11, 12%, he's lying. It's not possible. Because it is flouting a fundamental law of economics or finance. If somebody can earn that kind of money, how is bank not paying me more than this? How is everybody else not getting that return? Why this company, this guy, this product? Which means he's lying. high return, this doesn't mean high returns are not possible. Of course, high returns are possible, but it's risky and it's non-guaranteed. All financial products can be divided into one of the two categories. Is it guaranteed? It's non-guaranteed. Guaranteed products are not linked to market price of any kind. Your FD is 8.5%, doesn't matter what happens to whom. Your mutual funds give you higher returns, but it goes up and down with the market price. So there are two kinds of financial products: guaranteed, fixed, non-moving, not market linked. Non-guaranteed, volatile, goes up and down, higher returns. You have to have a mix of the two. When you invest your money, some part of the money has to be in fixed return product, so that acts like a base, a foundation for your investment. Some part of the money has to be in higher return product, which will go up and down, but shouldn't bother you because you would have a longer view of things, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, or whatever. So these principles are absolutely crystal clear, well proven, followed around the world by sensible people. They don't have to be financial experts. And there are academic papers to support this. People have enjoyed the fruits of these simple principles of investing. I just said that you need a few simple financial products, and you need to fix a time frame that gives your investments time to work. Now, what do I mean by that? Why is a time frame needed in case of financial products? The reason why time frame is needed in case of some financial products, which is a second category, is because as you stay invested in them for a longer period of time, the volatility reduces. If you invest it for 15 minutes, it will be highly volatile. Invest it for 6 months, it's less volatile. Invest it for 10 years, it's much smoother. The example I've taken right in the beginning is of a 10% return. Banks anyway give us 8.5%, 8.75% return. Senior citizens get a little more than that. All we need to do is mix our investments in such a way that we add something to this so that our total overall return goes up from this 8.5, 8.75 to around 10% or 11% or higher. That's all. For which we need just one other financial product, and that is equity mutual fund. I'm not even talking of stocks, which are more volatile and higher return. They are of the same gotra, they are the same category, but they are higher return, higher risk. That takes me to this particular slide. If you have 1,000 rupees to invest, or 5,000, after you've seen those charts, invest 40% of that, which is 2,000 rupees, in the first category, which is a fixed income, which is a bank equity. Put the rest 60%, which is 3,000 rupees, in equity mutual fund, and follow this 40-60 rule month after month, year after year for 15 years. If you are able to do that, you will do far better than 95% of your friends. I can give this to you in writing. Why? For 3 reasons. First of all, 95% of your friends are not going to invest 5,000 rupees a month. Second, even if they do, that money is going to lie in savings bank, in FD. They'll be lazy about pulling it out. When at a certain time of the year when the FD grows, they'll ask a friend, "Tu kidhar lagaya paisa? What have you done with your money?" They'll get a stupid advice. They'll follow it. They'll lose. They'll get angry. They'll go back to FD. This is the trajectory of a average investor. Or they'll fall for something else and will listen to somebody else and buy some stock which will collapse, or buy mutual fund at the wrong time and regret, or whatever. Behaviorally, it is extraordinarily difficult to do this simple thing for human beings. If you are able to do that, you will be part of that 5% of the population who has either understood and followed. Doesn't matter you understood or not, you followed. One of the two. It will still work, even if you have not understood and simply followed this like a rule. Rule-based saving and investment has no substitute, and that's the best. And human beings find it very difficult to follow rules of this kind, where the benefits are not obvious, where the benefits don't come to us today, tomorrow, day after. There's nothing to gain by doing this immediately. There's no gratification, there's no pleasure, there's no avoidance of pain. Nothing is there to do this simple, boring thing. So we find very, very difficult to do it. If you are able to do it, it's going to be fantastic for you.
Instead of investing in FD, can we invest liquid and liquid plus?
No, it's absolutely not needed for this set of people, because then the complications start. Which liquid fund? Which fund house? There are 44 fund houses. Choices are needed. The whole point is to reduce choices. They have enough of choices to make when they go to Flipkart. They need not make too many choices in the financial services area. Life brain will get frazzled if you have to make too many choices in financial services.
No tension.
Absolutely, no tension. Avoidance of choice or ability to reduce the number of choices is an absolutely key thing to be able to do this. We've traveled quite a bit. Any questions? I'd be very happy to answer.
Is this equity mutual fund the same as ELSS?
Equity ELSS is a kind of equity mutual fund. Now, you mentioned ELSS because that's another thing we love to do, which is in the month of January, February, March. Those who have taxable income get very anxious. I need to save money, I need to save money. There's usually an accountant in the office, or usually a friend's friend who's there to suggest an LIC policy to you, right? And you buy that policy. That policy is going to give you 4%, 5%, 5.5% kind of return, which is quite pathetic. But people think I bought a life insurance policy. That's they feel have a sense of comfort. Some smarter people, a small number of people buy ELSS, which is equity linked savings scheme that gives you a tax benefit. It is a kind of mutual fund, but it's locked in for 3 years. There should be higher lock-in according to me, but for 3 years you can't sell. It is mutual. It is equity mutual fund, except it's the nature. By nature, it is a 3-year lock-in, and it gives you a tax. It reduces your taxable income to the extent of 1,50,000 rupees maximum. So that's what ELS is about. Any other question? Yes.
Recently, they also started this NPS, which an allocation of 50,000 is given.
For which 50,000 is given. So that would be falling in the equity part, or it's going to be going into the FD part, or it's altogether different product?
It's an altogether different product because you have a choice of how much of which NPS type you want to buy. There are some NPS products, you have to choose how much of equity allocation you want within that. So you can get a 50%, so that itself is 50-50. 50% in debt instead of 60-40 here, which you do, like making your tea with the sugar and milk added. That comes, it's a pre-mixed tea. So everything is there, so it's 50% milk, 50% tea. That's what you get out of that.
And this Sensex, is it okay to invest in equity mutual funds? And this Sensex, is it okay to invest in equity mutual funds?
Depends on the number of years you're holding on to it. If you're holding on for 15 years, yes. The whole point about this session is that you earn regularly, you spend regularly, which is every month. So your investment has to be there for every single month without you thinking too much about it. If you try to think too much about it, then there's a lot to learn and a lot to optimize and so on, and all of that is not needed. The effort that you would pay, the effort that you would make from this point onwards to learn more is significantly more compared to the reward that you would get. Finance is a boring thing. Okay? It's not one of the most exciting things in our lives. And I certainly don't advise people to try to make it interesting or exciting. I want people to reduce the effort to derive the benefit out of finance and go on with their lives. They should work harder, enjoy life, all of that has to go on. Within that, what is the best they can do with their money? This is the best that they should be able to do with their money. And even this, 90-95% of the people don't do. The simple things. Probably because there are not enough people to advise correctly or facilitate this. There are auto debits. So if you instruct your bank, so much of money is coming into my account, salary account, please transfer 25% of this into this or 10% of this into an equity mutual fund. It will happen automatically. And that's a good way to invest, because then you don't have to apply your mind every month what to do with your money.
Sir,
Yes.
this percentage will be common for all age groups?
This percentage is common for younger people. The person who has got a Nobel Prize on these percentages, whether it's 40-60, whether it's 50-50, what is the best ratio? What is the best mix of percentage? His name is Harry Markowitz. He invented this sometime in 1960-61. He got a Nobel Prize subsequently. When he was asked, what did you do in your own life? His answer was, I did 50-50. So any ratio is fine as long as you are regular, and as long as you save enough, and as long as you invest every month in these two things. Nothing more is needed. Might sound very surprising because finance is made out to be so complex, so difficult, so huge, but all of that is not something that we need. And of course, in the course of this, there will be a lot of allurements, a lot of advice, a lot of ideas. Please avoid all of that. You don't need them. I'll just sum up with my what I've said in a slightly different way. Take a home loan. Why? Because you get tax benefits out of it. There's no other way you can get you can buy property out of your savings. They're just too expensive. Okay? And you have to wait forever. But don't take a home loan which eats away so much of your money that you can't save at least 25% of your income. So your expectation of what kind of property you want and what kind of home loan has to be tempered with this, because otherwise, as I said, by the time you're 45, you're going to be asset rich, cash poor. You will have a house which has grown in value, but you will have not much money in the bank. That's not a desirable idea. Take full advantage of tax benefits. The government has progressively made a lot of things tax-free. People earning right up to 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs today don't have to pay tax. But if you are gone beyond that, please take advantage of it, because 30% otherwise the government is going to take away. And 30%, it's a lot of money. We fight for 0.5% from the bank interest and so on. Save 25% of your income. Invest, as I said, in 40-60 ratio. And if you're able to do that, you can forget about the complexities of money and just enjoy your work and life. Thank you very much.